Okpekpe race. And here we've seen the third edition of Opopo race, in Rivers State, and now getting to know that Rivers State goes on their own. For me, it's truly it's good because it's about unnetting talent. I mean, there are abundant marathoners here that we cannot discover except opportunity like this come that way. So for me, it is top notch, and I just hope that consistency will be the watchword there.
So be specific. We understand that 2,000 runners will be involved in this international marathon, and over 200 technical officials will supervise. A 42-kilometer marathon. This promises to be all-inclusive. If you want to just be part of the race for fun, you can be part of it, and of course get prizes at the same time. And for allied runners, we understand renowned marathoners from Ethiopia and other African countries, not limited to African countries, even some European countries are expected to be part of this first edition of Rivers International Marathon.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good that we're getting to see this one. I think that a lot of preparation, massive, going to achieve that. For me, what's important is for us, the ability for us to do the needful when it comes to preparing, and then in doing every technical aspect of it that is important. Because when you are hosting a media marathon, it takes a lot is involved here, and I can bet you that if we have our house, well covered, we won't be having some of these challenges, and it's necessary that we get to fix some of these things to avoid the unnecessary mishap.
Well, let's hope that we have the opinion, or just say the preferences of the Sports Commissioner, Barrister Christopher Green, who did announce this to a journalist that was present at the briefing, because he had the inner mindset of his governor of the state, Sir Sim Fubra, who graciously agreed to sponsor this event from the 18th of May. But if we don't have that, we'll continue on the program. Talking about preparation, Team Nigeria's contingent to the 2024 African Games will open camp on the 15th of February this year in 5 states across the Federation. And of course, this is the second gear of the preparations towards the Games, which will take place in Accra, Ghana, on the 8th to the 23rd of March 2024. Nigeria getting it really reset for these African Games. Yeah,
getting it set. And one thing I know for sure is that we have to be set, truly. When you look at what we want to do and look at what we want to achieve, there's need for us to prepare. And I love the way the schedules have done. Created. We have different states, different activities, and I'm happy that at this point we now know the sporting discipline that will be participating, and will be taking part. And it's good that these are our competitive advantage. So for me, the schedule is fine. It's not going to be centered in one place where a lot of facilities are not there to cater for these individuals or talents that are bound. It's lovely that we get to see athletes who are good in different areas of sports go to different states. So for me, I think the plan is top notch. The next month is the program, and it looks like the Athletics Federation are already doing the needful. Not just them, across other sports, other sporting disciplines and federations, cooking up and ensuring that they prepare massively for this one.
Talking about the African Games, Nigeria is expected to participate in 25 sports, with 8 serving as Olympic qualifiers, including athletics, badminton, cycling, swimming, table tennis, of course, triathlon, not forgetting wrestling as well. Additionally, the country will compete in 15 non-Olympic qualifying sports, such as wrestling, basketball, arm wrestling, basketball, there's a 3x3, beach volleyball, boxing, chess, cricket, football, and handball. Cool. 2 sports, mixed martial arts and Scrabble, will be demonstrated by the Nigerian athletes.
Yeah, and it's good that we get to know what is at stake. If mixed martial arts will be demonstrated, it looks like maybe we'll get to see something good, because I know that we are very good too when it comes to mixed martial arts. So it depends on what the athletes have to offer. But let's see, these are the areas we want to associate. They are not Olympic qualifying, sports, but we need to demonstrate, and medals can also come up from that side. So we can't write it off.
5 camping sites we told you earlier has been designated for preparations towards the African Games coming up in Accra, Ghana, and the sites here in Nigeria are in Abuja, Lagos, Ibadan, Gombe, and Bayelsa. Abuja will, of course, accommodate athletes participating in athletics, and arm wrestling, badminton, basketball, football, hockey, rugby, swimming, taekwondo, tennis, weightlifting, and volleyball. Lagos is expected to serve as the campsite for beach volleyball, cricket, handball, table tennis, mixed martial arts, and triathlon. Meanwhile, Ibadan will host boxing, chess, Scrabble, judo, and karate. Bayelsa is expected to cater for the wrestling team, while Gombe provide facilities for the cycling team. Away from that, I will get to cricket, and talking about cricket reminds me that the wife of the Edo State Governor, Mrs. Bestie Obaseki, and of course the chairman of the Edo State Sports Commission, Mr. Yusuf Ali, have been listed to grace the third edition of the South-South Female Cricket League in Benin City this weekend. Benin City continually being a hub of sporting events.
Yeah, Benin City is good. I mean, they have a cricket over, and so it's expected that whenever they want to talk about, they want to have anything to do with cricket, you just get to see. And well, they're going to be having, I think, a minute 20 event where the females, like 4 teams will participate in this one, and then getting to see the governor's wife grazing this one. Usually, you don't get to see it except football matters. But when you hear that the governor's wife is going to watch cricket game, it does tell that this is a state that is really working around the clock, to decentralize focus when it comes to sports, and not just to focus on football alone. And cricket is one of the mainstay of Nigeria now because of what Yap and his team have really done. So getting to see Yapata, getting to see some of the names like the governor's wife, and then Yusuf Ali, the one who's in charge of the sports commission in Benin City. It's lovely, and I hope that other states can take a cue from it, because usually when you have programs like this, you don't get to see any top dignitaries attending, because they are minor sports, and it shouldn't be so, because all sports can get talent, and because talent are banned in all sports, it gives opportunities, and maybe 1 or 2 players can be spotted. You never can tell.
Well, we wish the cricketers the best of preparations, especially as they make Benin City very busy this weekend. Meanwhile, I will go to basketball. And talking about basketball reminds me that the Nigerian D Tigers, that's the female basketball team of Nigeria, began their FIBA Women Olympic qualifier with a winning note. Of course, they took out their Senegalese counterparts 75 to 65 points, 72 to 65 points win just a few hours ago. And this is sharing. Senegalese female basketball have been one of the recognizable female basketball team in Africa, and for the D Tigers to beat them by 72 to 65 points in an Olympic qualifier looks sharing.
It looks challenging, and it wasn't an easy game at all. I mean, we came back strong in the first quarter. I did the needful there, but they came stronger in the second quarter. They got it, but in the first quarter, it ended 2018, and very close there. They came in the second quarter basking in the euphoria of that close margin. They wanted to do the needful, and the third quarter was on par, and then the fourth quarter was when the Tigers came into the game. I just think that because they never had time for camping, a lot of strategies didn't come in. Even in the first game in the AfroBasket last year in Rwanda, you recall that the first game was always, doubtful. I mean, they never played a very fancy game there. It took them very difficult time to win, in that first game. So I think that what we're seeing is more like also the coach trying to blend his tactics, and also the guys trying to do the needful. Ami Okonkwo, who was very brilliant on the day, posting maximum point there. And not forgetting that Makamura, Promise Makamura, the one who just called up after some injury concern, also he was able to post. So for me, I think it's a good start, regardless of the margin, but I think that we can boast on this particular one.
Win in the bag for the D Tigers. They have an uphill task today against the United States of America. The United States of America already qualified for the Olympics, but they still have to contend with this D Tigers Nigeria.
Yeah, they have to, and that's why it's lovely. I mean, it's going to make a whole lot of sense if Nigeria get to win at them. If Nigeria wins them, it will be massive. I don't expect anything less than a tough one against USA, but we have shown that we can also do this thing. So sometimes we go against USA. So I'm not. There's nothing spectacular. Even if the power ranking shows differently, they are #1 in the world in the world when it comes to power ranking. But you cannot debunk the effort of Team Nigeria. But I just hope that the lackadaisical display we showed against Senegal will not come fighting us, because I mean it's just barely 24 hours they're going to play this encounter. But like I said, they never had time to train. So maybe as time goes on, as they go into the games, they will be more prepared for it. But we need to win today and be hopeful that anything can happen between us and Belgium.
Paris 2024 in focus, and we hope the D Tigers will be one of the basketball teams that will be on showcase at the Olympic Games coming up in Paris in just a few months from now. Meanwhile, the Ukraine Olympic Committee claims that the athletes should not be allowed to compete at the Paris Games because of their support for the Russian aggression. this is politics being mixed with sports now. Of course, we know Russia and Belarusian Olympic teams are not allowed to participate as under the country flags. Definitely, they should be at the Olympic Games as neutrals.
Yeah, and I mean, we've heard this over time. It's there's a former claim. I mean, a former pronouncement. I think it's just there that no matter the conspiracy, no matter the talks, you know, and IOC have come out to say this is how we are going to treat nations like this that violates, and I don't think they need to be reminded on what is needful. The Ukraine and Russian, you know, crisis has really, you know, taken a lot tolls on a lot of things, and not a very good one. I just hope that IOC will continue to maintain the momentum, because it's about the Olympic Charter. Anything that negates the policies and the, you know, treaties, I mean, they have to stand by it strongly to ensure that they don't cripple. But for me, I don't subscribe to the politics of playing, because you cannot dictate for IOC what they should do. And so if IOC thinks that Russia violated and they have been, so, you know, sanctioned, I mean, the sanctions should go. I don't think that Ukrainians need to remind Russia, or Russia trying to play, you know, politics on this particular one. But it's unfortunate that Russian players, or I mean, athletes will continue until there's a change, you know, in that status.
Talking about the Olympic directive there, it has to be, if you're a Russian or you're a Belarusian, you want to compete at the Olympic Games, you compete as, you know, as an individual athlete, not from a specific country, or not from Russia or from or Belarus, because of the war, their support of war against Ukraine. And that, I think, will stand at the forthcoming Olympic Games. Any Russian you see at the Olympic Games definitely will not have any insignia or flag of his or her country around him. You'll be competing as an independent athlete, and that, I think, will continue to stay at least for the next Olympic Games, because the Olympic Charter is very clear on when a country is at war, and if you are judged to be aggressor, then you can't see any insignia of that country at the Olympic Games. I think Russia will suffer that. Belarus, for supporting Russia against Ukraine, will suffer that as well. So Russian athletes in the forthcoming Olympic Games definitely cannot compete under the flag of a respective country. I think this is it's long been a statement of fact, and of course a policy of the Olympic Committee, and it's not ready to change any moment soon. Meanwhile, let's go to tennis. And talking about tennis, this reminds me that Harriet Dart is set to return to the world's top 100 after she defeated Elisabetta Cosseretto to reach the Transylvanian Open quarterfinals. The British are trying to find it difficult these days to stay among top tennis players, especially in the female category.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not been rosy. I think recently at the Abu Grand Prix, we saw how Emma Raducanu lost to Ons Jabeur a few days ago. And almost all the... we also saw a certain British player who also did so well, but you cannot compare their effort as, you know, as compared to what others are doing, and that calls for concern. But I'm happy for Harriet, who was able to get past. Before now, she came into the competition, you know, as a 103 ranked player, and with this win against the quarterfinals, there's a tendency that even if she exits, you know, she will be in the top 100 because of, you know, her ability, and I hope that she will continue to bounce, you know, stronger. For me, they have really suffered in the rankings because of inconsistency, sometimes injury and all that, but I just hope that this year will turn around for them. It's not been easy for the British players, not just in the female category, even in the male too, but for Harriet, I hope that she would have enjoyed her stay, having won Cucurella.
Looks like Emma Raducanu was a flash in the pan. I'm giving her that she won a Grand Slam, her very first, just about 3 years ago, but thereafter she's not been able to get crucial stages of the competition. Meanwhile, that who is the next British hopeful came through the qualifying for the WTA Tour event. Of course, entered the week in a 103rd spot, but will now have to move after a slide down in rankings late last year. The 27-year-old faces unseeded Spaniard Nuria Perez Diaz in the last 8 of the competition in Clutch. Meanwhile, Diaz's victory over Cosseretto in Albania was the 5th time she had made the last 8 of the WTA Tour event, and this will be the first time she has to do so off a British grass. And wish her the very best of luck. The British hopeful there that looking at improving on our ranking. And from tennis, we have to go to Formula 1, where the British Grand Prix will continue at Silverstone until at least 2034, after the historic track signed a new 10-year deal with Formula 1. Talking about the Silverstone in England, that is, let's say, the home of Formula One, and now they have yet another extension for a record period of 10 years. Talking about Silverstone reminds me of the man who has made it like his hometown there, continually winning. The Mercedes driver, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton, very fine driver, I must say. But before we talk about that, I think since 1970, or since Silverstone, you know, being part of this particular one, F1 also, I mean, they have a strong heritage and strong say when it comes to F1. And I think that getting to see them renew their contract for another 10 years is massive for me. And who wouldn't? I mean, leave the opportunity. You see the guys from the Saudis, you know, come in and pick those opportunities, and it is about the money. I think that they are no match, but so, but for the heritage, for what the joy that it comes with, I think that it's fine to get to see, you know, a Grand Prix being hosted in Silverstone, and for those that are very related, not at the time when he just signed a new contract with, you know, I mean, he signed a new contract with Ferrari. Maybe one more time with Mercedes this season, we'll get to see if we can get that one. Last year it wasn't glorious for him, you know, in this particular tour. But I mean, what more can we say? We just hope that with this new deal, FIA Dominicali was very pleased that this deal was finally signed, and I just hope that they will do the needful and package it very well. A lot of people think that Singapore Grand Prix, you know, used to be one of the best because of the lightning and everything that comes with it. But I think that Silverstone also have a lot to offer, not forgetting the US Grand Prix, a lot. But I hope that we're going to see something better with this new deal now. It will reignite followership, and a lot of people want to, it will also reignite participation.
While Formula One continue to enjoy our home status in Silverstone in England, and the next 10 years we'll continue to see top Formula One events take place at Silverstone. That has been regarded as one of the homes of Formula One, the very fastest sports there. And talk about Formula One, you continue to talk about Lewis Hamilton, and of course his next move to Ferrari from a Mercedes. It's still like Mercedes losing their very best, and do they have any replacement now for, expectedly, for Lewis Hamilton?
No, just permutations. I mean, a lot of permutation, because George Russell definitely will not take on. Will take the position of the first driver, no doubt, and maybe look at. I don't know whether they're going to go for the Lando Norris or they're going to go for any of those, you know, drivers. But I know for sure that we're going to see a change at the end of the season. We're going to see a lot of reshufflement, you know, to really put up. But for him, that's a big landmark for him. His driver becoming his friend. I don't know how they're going to pair, because we know that Charles Leclerc and him both were tough rival even before Max Verstappen came into the mix and took the shine. So for me, it's a good one for Lewis Hamilton, because if I mean you expect an upgrade in the engine and it's not working out for you, he has won seven-time winner of the Formula One, and he needs to continue. And I mean, the way Max Verstappen is going, with their engine fast and quick, it's difficult to really compete with them. Team Mercedes are not, maybe they're not pulling as much strength that would have expected, and that would have also necessitated that decision to go. But for me, it's about what you think, and every driver do have their own opinion. For me, it's a good deal. I just hope that he will do so well this season, so that it doesn't look like it was premeditated intentions. I want him to do so well today, this week, this season with Mercedes. And if he does that, Toto Wolff would have been right to say that this man knows what he's doing.
Toto Wolff, I know that about the henchman at Mercedes losing his friend away from talking about Lewis Hamilton. Both of them have been very good friends, both on and off the circuit. Well, that's where we'll take a break for this edition of the program. We'll return back in a jiffy, and then when we return, we'll go straight into football, where there's been a lot of, let's say, poor administration on the part of the Nigerian Premier Football League. When we return from break, we'll let you know how bad the administration of the Nigerian Premier Football League is here in Nigeria. Stay with us.
Registration has commenced for the 13th edition of Rotary Club of Trans-Amadi Spelling Bee competition for schools in River State, with Nigeria LNG Limited as headline sponsor. Registration is free. Forms are available at www.rctransamadi.org.ng and at the following centers: Our Care School, East West Road; Wisdom Gates International College, East West Road; Sacred Heart Seminary School, Rumibekwe; Pentagon Veterinary Services, Trans-Woji Road, Woji; Dear Times International School, Peter Audley Road; Our Lady of Fatima College, Creek Road; Dominica Royal International School, Atali, State Primary School, Rumwekine, Excellent Montessori Schools, NTA Choba Road, Rumweme Girls Secondary School, Rumweme, Vondorix Secondary School, Rupoku, Chris Miller Schools, Bonny, Ascension High School, Eleme, Solid Steps International School, Oyibo, Paradise International School, Afam Road, Oyibo, Western Ahoda County High School, Ahoda, Community Boys Secondary School, Elelenwon, St. Andrews State School 1 by 1 Giobo, State School 1, Eche, Local Government Area, Gold Mine International School, Degema, Mother Boys Secondary School, Omoko, Dumfred Model School, Bori. For more information, contact 0803 310 2516. Registration closes on the 9th of February 2024. Spelling Bee is supported by media partners Atlantic TV Network and Wish 99.5 FM. Sponsors Victor and Helen Foundation, Eddie Baber Foundation, Chixel Computers, Morningstar Hospital, and Nigeria Info. Spelling Bee, beyond words.
Welcome back. It's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. Of course, don't forget we talked about Formula One, where Silverstone has had a renewal his contract for another 10 years as venue of top-level Formula One competition in the United Kingdom. And we talked about basketball. The Tigers, they have already, won their very first game in a bid to qualify for the Olympic Games coming up in Paris 2024. Later today, they will be in action against the female basketball team from the United States of America. We talked about equally how Rivers State government is prepared to host the very first Rivers International Marathon race coming up on the 18th of May 2024. So it's been a very loaded first part of the program Sports Talk. Let's look at the second part now. Of course, we start in football, and in football, the Nigerian Premier Football League has put on hold the match, the 13th fixture between Rivers United and Sporting Lagos. This game, of course, earlier scheduled for the Mobolaji Johnson Stadium, the Nikon Lagos. However, the stadium became unavailable due to 4 giant screens that were mounted on a big stage at the center of the pitch as a result of ongoing AFCON event. The match was later moved to Remo Star Stadium in Ikenne, away from Lagos, and stated to be played yesterday, but this failed to hold, resulting in an indefinite suspension of the game. Epo, how can this be? In the modern day football administration, Rivers United traveled from Port Harcourt to play a match in Lagos. They got to Lagos. They were told that the match can no longer hold in Lagos because of giant screen being mounted at the stadium where the match was supposed to take place for the purposes of watching AFCON fixtures. The match was moved from Lagos to Ikenne in another state, and when they traveled from Ikenne to from Lagos to Ikenne, they only discovered that the match has been postponed and rescheduled for another date. This looks very disturbing. A Premier League football side moving aimlessly without a proper scheduling of their match. How can this happen in the 21st century?
It's very unfortunate. I mean, we shouldn't be hearing this. It doesn't make sense for me. It doesn't make sense for me. And some of these things, when we talk about them, it sounds very funny. Yes, AFCON is going on, but when you get it, it becomes something that will not towards a rescheduled game. It looks as if there is a cooked-up plan. I don't know, but I'm just thinking that much should have been done to avert some of these things we're hearing. For me, it's even embarrassing talking about it.
Very embarrassing to say that a team can travel from our base to a venue of a match and only to be told that that match cannot hold for flimsy reasons, and move to another base, and only to arrive at that base and the organizers of the competition will write to say the match has been postponed indefinitely. How could this happen to a club side here? And then you now say that they should be paid some kind of inconvenience allowance, or maybe the cost of staying in the hotel for an extra day. How does this, just say, wear off on the image of football played here in Nigeria, Premier League for that matter?
It's I don't know. I'm just thinking that when you see, I mean, for Rivers United, it's quite unfortunate because this it was planned. I mean, they were informed that they're going to have a game. They traveled, logistics plans were made. I mean, a lot there. I don't know how they're going to take it. I don't know who will pay the bills. I don't know who will refund the, all these logistics that have made. But I think that the NFF sometimes owes explanations. And if the clubs feel okay with it, then I mean, no, we can only express that this is appalling. But there should be damage control. I mean, we shouldn't be allowing things like this to happen because the economy is already biting, and when clubs, do not meet up appointment that has been planned, proposed, sent to them, approved, it's become challenging. And the host club, should be forced to cater for some of these issues because you can't blame the home team for arriving and preparing. You can't at all.
Rivers United has now, of course, turned our focus to the scheduled match, the 15th fixture involving Shooting Stars of Ibadan. And that will be coming up on the 10th of February at the Lagos Salami Stadium. We hope that they won't have to turn them back from Lagos Salami Stadium in Ibadan.
I just hope. I just hope, but I don't think that will be. I mean, once beaten, twice shy. That's but you cannot. I think that the NFF, the NPFL board will have to do a whole lot. The Lagos Salami Stadium will massively get to see this one come alive, but it all depends on how they go about it. If approval has been done, if information has been disseminated, all these matters, But like I said, it's the headache of the NPFL board and how they go about it. All we want to see is that this game comes to reality.
Tomorrow at the Lagos Salami Stadium, Tracy of Ibadan should be in action against the counterparts from Rivers, Rivers United. And if what we have seen in the last few days is anything to go by, Rivers United may as well be thinking of an alternative venue if they get to Ibadan. And of course, after all, the AFCON that is ongoing will take place match will feature tomorrow. Who says that they won't see 4 or 5 small television screen being mounted at Lagos Salami Stadium for people to watch the AFCON? That's my thought based on what has happened. But I think the Nigerian Premier League football should be able to do better in terms of logistics for teams taking part in our competition. Well, let's talk about some movement in the Premier League as well. Players are moving. We understand Rabiu Zukufilu has revealed that he's joining Rangers International.
Yeah, and this is a player who, of course, have been dreaming of playing, for the Flying Antelopes, and finally, he just got his chance, and he's part of it now. I hope that the development that he so craved for, he will be achieved or actualized, being part of the Enugu Rangers.
Well, talking about football and the calamity that has caused Nigeria, so do I say an aftermath of it, the African Nations Cup? Remember, Nigeria did beat their counterparts from South Africa, Bafana, to move into the very final of this year's edition of the competition that comes up on Sunday. But there have been multiple deaths aftermath of that goal scored by Victor Osimhen that was allowed, and as if that was not enough, there was an infringement on the other side, and it resulted into a penalty. And instead of 2 goals, Nigeria had a one. They had instead of 2 goals lead, they had their 1 goal scored earlier, half by a penalty that was scored by the Bafana. That caused a lot of shock to most Nigerians that were watching the fixture. At the last count, 4 Nigerians died aftermath of that VAR decision, which for me was okay, but then it caused multiple deaths in Nigeria. As if these deaths were not enough, we've now heard of some football stakeholders passing on as well. Godwin Zillian, former under-17 national team coach, and Kaode Tijani, a well-known football journalist here in Nigeria, passed on as well. And the NFF, the Nigerian Football Federation, have announced that these people should be commiserated with across board here in Nigeria. This is one death too many. Multiple deaths when Nigeria should be celebrating our qualification for the final of the African Cup of Nations.
No, not a good one at all. But one of them, I think Kayode do have a protracted illness, but unfortunately he died. He's one of the...
Kayode wouldn't want to die, especially during the African Cup of Nations, if he had a choice.
Yeah, because he's one of the fine journalists we have around here, but for Zealand, that was shocking because that's why a lot of persons don't get to watch Nigerian game, because you need to see the intense pressure that the BP, a lot of BP were high, and it's very challenging that while we celebrate everything that played out that day, some have to lose their life. And yesterday, even in the camp of the Super Eagles, they were honored for those who died. Four of them died, in total. But these are the renowned ones because they are part of they are in the sports and the football fraternity. Zealand is one of the coaches who have been, commenting on issues, and you cannot take that away from him. He has done a lot as as his own part in the development of the game, and I just take it from that perspective. It's quite unfortunate that the family will be bereaved now, but we hope that God will give them the mind to bear this irreparable loss.
Well, I love from here on Atlantic Television Network is with the families of the departed, because for me especially, Godwin Zile had worked with me when I was in Sharks of Port Harcourt, and he's a fine gentleman, very knowledgeable in the sports of football as well. So we will say, may their souls find rest with the Lord. Meanwhile, ahead of the 2023 African Cup of Nations final on Sunday, the President of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Mosempe, has invited presidents of the member association, including the Nigerian Football Federation President Ibrahim Gozo, to this final. And of course, they expected that the final will have an executive meeting just before the final. FIFA President Gianni Infantino expected to be in the final as well. So, meeting before the final, presidents coming in there, and of course, we will now see the final that will have the honor of having the FIFA president himself seated to watch Nigeria play Cote d'Ivoire, the host nation. Nigeria,
I mean, he had already planned that he would be, in Asia, where the competition also coronate that day.
There is match the Asian Cup final is
tomorrow.
Iran.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah,
right.
Precisely. And so, but maybe that's why. And so, I think you can see meet up. It all depends. But because of the meetings and all that, it's lovely to get to see Gianni Infantino in the finals. I mean, this is going to be very remarkable, especially if Nigeria leaves that trophy that day. And I think that we'll get to see how far. But it's fine. I mean, if you look at the AFCON this year, it's lovely that such person would be. But I also love the fact that the FIFA and CAF, I mean, the meeting that they're going to hold, or presidents have been invited, maybe to talk about the more development of the game here. But we've seen a very fine show, and the man who's at the echelon of it all should be there to witness this great festival.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino will be present on the Sunday to watch the Super Eagles play their counterparts from Ivory Coast. But as if that is not enough, we will be seeing, a lot of people, at the stadium there. It is a 60,000 capacity stadium, Apple. We hope that what happened in Cameroon won't happen, because this is a host nation against another superpower in African football.
Yeah, and we're going to see, I mean, the last semi-finals when Ivory Coast played, we saw 51,000, 20 capacity spectators in the stadium of 60,000 capacity. And it tells you that this time around we are even going to get maybe close to 60,000, because that stadium will be packed full. For these host nations, they have to do everything possible. We'll beat them in the group stages, but let's see if they can get one. If they can try to get one over us. But it's the final, everything is very possible.
Anything is possible. I'm talking about anything being possible. The Super Eagles goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali, of course, plays his professional football for Cheetahs Football Club of South Africa. Aftermath of his heroic, this excellent performance against South Africa, he has received a lot of threats from the fans of South African football. And do you think this is good for African football? Because you play professional football in South Africa, you should not return back to your club side because of your performance against the home nation?
Yeah, I think that this will just end after the AFCON ends. Some of these things will not play out. I mean, we can't afford it. They can't even try anything that will bring the game to disrepute. I just see some of these threats, ended yesterday when after the game ended the day for yesterday. So I want to believe that these threats are not real. But I mean,
if you know South Africa so well, it doesn't come easy like that. We've known situation where they've had to destroy businesses owned by Nigerians when Nigeria had to beat South Africa. And it's not any different this time around. But to threaten a goalkeeper, a principal player in the match, this is taking it to yet another dangerous level. Yes, Nwabali plays professional football in South Africa, but it's in the process of the game. He owes his allegiance to his country and not to his club side.
Truly, and I mean, fans need to be matured. They need to they will need to be sensitized to the level that emotions are not to be played. You know, you don't put sentiment and emotions when you are looking at football matters professionally. And I think that what the man did is what every patriotic player should do for their country. If there are players who play for the Nigerian league, not because they played against us and I would not take them for granted. No, I think that these threats are not to be taken lightly, like you said. But it is also the duty of the South African embassy, the South African FE, to look into some of these threats and try and ensure that this man is safe. Because I wouldn't want a situation whereby after the AFCON, he will now fidget going back to play for his club. And openly, his club side have really, voiced their support for him. And Chippa United, I know for sure, this is their first choice, and they wouldn't also want anything. So I want to believe that some of these things will nip in the bud. Patrice Motsepe also needs to come on board and also express some of these things. It doesn't matter whether it's South Africa. I think that they are taken beyond bounds, and sometimes threats like this shouldn't be taken for granted.
Threats in football, they are coming the way of Stanley Nwabali, goalkeeper of the Super Eagles of Nigeria as well, goalkeeper for Chippers United. If Stanley Nwabali could be threatened, I wonder what will happen to the owner of the club side Chippers in South Africa, because before the encounter between Nigeria and South Africa, the owner has come out openly to say he was supporting Nigeria because of his goalkeeper against South Africa in this instance. You have to understand that he's expecting mega dollars aftermath of sales of the player in days ahead, because from what we've seen of Stanley Nwabali, his days in Europe, or do I say, especially, is just by the corner, and that comes with a lot of transfer fees, which the club president expected to benefit from. And talking about the Super Eagles and their performances at the African Cup of Nations, Semi Ajayi has been picked up by CAF drug test unit to check whether he had any system tainted. This is not the first time Nigerian players have been tested. We've had multiple Nigerian players tested in the course of the African Cup of Nations. But aftermath of the Nigeria encounter with South Africa, it was the turn of Semi Ajayi to be tested.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, and there's no more fear. After some players we came out clean the last time, it looks like after each game, the moment they decide to, they just want to have a sample and do some tests. So I don't think there's anything to worry about. It's
customary to test players after the encounter to see whether they had the system tainted with any enhanced performance-enhancing drugs, or substances. Let's quickly try to wrap up the show now. And one issue that is in the burner of international football right now, as we speak, is the fact that they're expected to introduce what is called the blue card. Of course, if you're a football follower around the world, you know of the yellow card and, of course, the red card. This time around, there's what they call blue card to be introduced to football. And EPO, after nearly 50 years of football using the yellow and the red card, there is now a blue card. Yellow card, of course, wants you in the course of a game, and if you have it multiple times, you could lose a fixture. And of course, the red card, if it's flashed, you automatically miss the fixture and you're ejected from the game while the game is going on. We are now told that there will be a blue card, and this blue card will eject you from the game for a period of about 10 minutes for disciplinary conduct. Is this feasible in the near future? Is FIFA and, of course, the International Board for Football Association ready to go the way of red card, 10 minutes ejection, and you return back to the match if you are given a blue card?
My only challenge is that how would they know which the category of offense that the blue card should be given? And when you eject somebody for 10 minutes, and the red card is issued, that's out totally. I don't know how they're going to do it, but there should be clear-cut directive and policies on how this will be managed. I don't have a problem whether they're going to bring in blue cards, but it should be clear. There should not be confusing, with the viewers and also the referees. But I think that some of these things, before it will be formally, approved to be used, the referees would have mastered it. The players would have been oriented. So I don't think there will be a problem about it. But the concern is that I hope it will not make football, 90 minutes very boring, because we get to see a lot of cards being dished out unnecessarily. It's, for me, not really needed. I think that we are contented since the invention of the two cards back then. I just hope that we can do more about this.
On-pitch discipline for players as continues to evolve. We've told you of the red and yellow card being used in the last 50 years in the football. We hope that the introduction of the blue card will maybe minimize the way players get themselves, how they get to behave on the pitch, because we're now told that you have 2 blue cards in course of a fixture, automatically qualify you for a yellow card, and of course a yellow card leading to a red as well. Well, Let's see how FIFA will do that. But in the days ahead, all of this will be refined and go through the process as usual in the world football. Meanwhile, England, we are told, have been drawn against Finland, the Republic of Ireland, and Greece in their 2024-2025 fixture in the Nations League. England, you think they are comfortable against Finland, Republic of Ireland, and Greece?
Yeah, it depends. The last time they failed to qualify because they were relegated in a group that has Italy. But then with this particular one now, I think the Three Lions will have to beef up themselves and know that everything is at stake here.
Well, Three Lions in a group where for me it looks like easy one, but let's see whether they can qualify. The full draws for the 2024-2025 Nations League, it shows that in League A, A1, we have Croatia, Portugal, Poland, Scotland. In A2, we have Italy, Belgium, France, and Israel. While in A3, there's the Netherlands, there's Hungary, there is Germany, and there's Bosnia-Herzegovina. In A4, we have Spain, Denmark, Switzerland, and Serbia. And for me, that's a crack group. While in League B, we have the B1 where Czechia, Ukraine, and Albania, not forgetting Georgia. While in B2, there's England, Finland, I told you earlier, and Greece, not forgetting the Republic of Ireland. In B3, there's Austria, Norway, Slovenia, and Kazakhstan. And in B4, there's Wales, Iceland, Montenegro, and Turkey. In the League C, there is the C1 where Sweden, Azerbaijan, Estonia, and Slovakia make up the group. While in C2, there's Romania, Kosovo, and Cyprus. Lithuania and Gibraltar as well. Qualifier between the two of them will make up that group. Meanwhile, in C3, there's Luxembourg, Bulgaria, Northern Ireland, and Belarus. While in C4, there's North Macedonia, Latvia, Faroe Island, and Armenia. In League D, there's Lithuania, of course, Gibraltar, if any of them qualifies, San Marino, and of course, Liechtenstein. In D2, there's Moldova, and Andorra. While we will have a team being relegated there as well. I think we'll have to begin to wrap up the show now, and we are told that the UEFA president, Seferin, won't seek re-election in 2027. This is cheering because football administrators love to stay in office, but we are told he will not be seeking a fourth term after all.
Yeah, he won't. He has come out to express that even if he has a mandate to because of the new reform in the status of UEFA. But he said, the pressure from family, he has not been with his family in the last 7 years.
He's been through wars as well.
Yeah, through wars. A lot of challenges and all that. A lot of people backbiting and all that. So he gave a lot of reasons why he decided to step down and he won't continue or he won't go in to be re-elected in 2027. And for me, I think it's fine. I mean, when you have 2 years in office, leadership positions should not be. I mean, it's no man's land. So I love what he did. He hearkened to the voice of reason. I mean, it doesn't look like he's so much. Because I tell you for sure, it's about traveling. Sometimes they don't even have time for themselves. And Stephen is one man who, if you know him, very simple and very vocal in whatever he believes and his policy trust. So I'm happy that he was able to do that. I really applaud this stride. Not many leaders can do that.
Well, there is this issue around Didi, Wilfred Didi, and of course Kelechi Iheanacho, the senior man of Nigerian football. Their club side having to look at deciding their fate in days ahead.
Yeah, the contract expires. I mean, the contract terms will soon expire. And I mean, the coach Maresca has come out to say that he can't look into those activities, those ones now. But all other players should also have shared the same, contractual ending or period. Maybe at the end of the season. But our quest right now is not to be distracted, focus on regaining getting the promotion to the English Premier League. If they can achieve that, then a lot will be looked at. Maybe some will float, but then to be honest, I agree with the coach. Don't distract the team with transfer or maybe contract issues now.
Meanwhile, Liverpool have suffered a fresh injury blow. Thiago Alcantara has suffered a fresh blow in his muscles. What do we do here? With Liverpool, everybody thought injury concerns were over, but they are deeping with Thiago Alcantara, one of the best players from Spain, having a muscle discomfort.
Very, very challenging. If you look at the injury concerns, in the team, if you get to see Thiago having an injury, it shows that we might just see Liverpool being crippled very soon. But I just hope that they were able to have.
Don't forget there's Mohamed Salah as well.
Mo Salah is out for some time, and not just Mo Salah alone, a lot of players there. But I hope that they can bounce back. That's why they have second team. Get the players that have not been playing regularly to fill up those vacuum.
Well, that will be where we'll wrap up this edition of Sports Talk. Don't forget, we'll be back at 6 p.m. Nigerian time for Sports Extraordinary. Our focus then will be on the third place fixture of the African Cup of Nations, who gets the bronze medal. will it be Congo DR? It will be South Africa. The two of them will play the third place fixture tomorrow. When we return, we'll x-ray the two teams and see who can get at the bronze medal just before the final comes up on Sunday. Until then, remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.
Telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara